There are 10 NFL stories that caught my eye this past week. Number one, Tom Brady reworked his contract. It's called a 4-year extension. What it really does is it keeps Tom Brady in Tampa through 2022, and it spreads out his money. So basically, Tom Brady took a pay cut to help the Buccaneers have more cap space to re-sign players and rework stuff and keep the band together. This is really Tom saying, I will do whatever it takes to keep our team together and try to win another Super Bowl. At this point, Tom's not playing for the money. I think Tom is clearly playing to win more rings and to continue his legacy. And Tom loves the game. He's made his money. He's got endorsements. His wife's got a ton of money. He's made a ton of money in his career. He's played for 20 years at an incredibly high level. So Tom Brady's main concern is not money. I really like that. I respect that. Another quarterback who made a similar move was Patrick Mahomes, but it was not after. First of all, the Chiefs cut both their right and left tackle, Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz. The goal of these moves was to save salary cap space. Releasing Eric Fisher, for example, saved over $12 million. Now, that's a big loss, though. We saw how bad Kansas City's offensive line was last year in the Super Bowl without their right and left tackle. They are not good without Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz. It makes me very, very nervous for Kansas City. But again, like I said, Patrick Mahomes is reportedly restructuring his contract. It will save KC about $17 million for his team salary cap space. My thought with that is maybe Mahomes took a cut so he could, basically saying like, look, I'll do what it takes. I want to win. And my offensive line just got depleted. Let's make a move. Let's go get another right and left tackle because I need help. And maybe they want to make a move at left tackle Trent Williams, a guy who would become a free agent out of San Francisco. He's probably the best free agent offensive lineman in the NFL right now. And so if I am Kansas City and I freed up whatever space I could, I would make a move at Trent Williams, say, hey, you want to come here, win a Super Bowl with us? Because we got Patrick Mahomes. We just need a left tackle. You filled that role for us. We will provide some wins for you, especially after playing for years in Washington, 1 year in San Francisco where everybody got injured and fell apart. I would imagine Trent Williams is eager to win some football games. Now, the third story that was brought to my attention, the Bills re-signed linebacker Matt Milano. Got a 4-year deal, $44 million. He said he wants to be in Buffalo and chase a Super Bowl. I love that. That's awesome. I also want to remind you that Buffalo's offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, did not go anywhere. He was one of the guys who people said, Brian Daboll, where's he going to go? He's going to be head coach. And he interviewed everywhere and ended up nowhere. Now, maybe he interviewed terribly and didn't work out, but it seems like Buffalo has a sense of unfinished business. They brought back their offensive coordinator. Matt Milano wants to come back. They're building a culture where they're going to chase Super Bowls and do it with Josh Allen. Brian Daboll is a part of that. Matt Milano is a part of that. I am very excited for the future of Buffalo, and I would be very happy if Buffalo found a way to win a Super Bowl or even get to a Super Bowl, but really win a Super Bowl after they lost 4 years in a row back in the 90s. They deserve a win. At least the fans do. And so I would be very, very happy if Buffalo was able to complete their quest and win a Super Bowl. Number 4, the Saints have released receiver Emmanuel Sanders and corner Janoris Jenkins. New Orleans still's got really big salary cap problems. They are still in the negative, actually, financially. They're making whatever cut they can to save money, and they're making as many moves as they can. I keep hearing people say, like, oh, they're going to trade for Russell Wilson. I'm like, I don't know how they make that work financially. The Saints are in, it's called cap hell, where they owe money, right? It's really bad. Like, even if Drew Brees comes back, they still got to make cuts. I don't really know. It feels like the Saints are making cuts left and right. The last year was their year where they went all out, and they still came up short. So I don't have confidence the Saints are going to go on a Super Bowl run no matter what happens in their future. But I feel like the Saints actually, in fact, are going to have to rebuild very soon. But keep your eye on that. It's interesting to me. A couple of small stories. The Houston Texans signed 2 players. They signed running back Mark Ingram to a 1-year, $3 million contract, and linebacker Christian Kirksey to a 1-year, $4.5 million. The Giants cut guard Kevin Zeitler. The 49ers signed cornerback Emmanuel Moseley to a 2-year, $10 million deal. That's great for him. Emmanuel Moseley is awesome. That's a good move for them. Reasonable money. I like Emmanuel Moseley a lot. Now, 2 running backs are going to become free agents, guys who have been big names in the NFL, been starters in the NFL. Aaron Jones from Green Bay and Chris Carson from Seattle. They've done good stuff. They've been good running backs in the past. My problem is you can get running backs for like next to nothing in the NFL draft. It's not good. I don't like saying that. It feels sleazy and wrong to not pay people what they're based on what they've done in the past. However, the market value doesn't really show that running backs are worth paying. Unfortunately, it sucks. And I would tell if you're a high school player and you really have a chance at the NFL, play receiver, play quarterback. Don't play running back, because running backs get used and then thrown away the minute they're 27 years old. They've got a little, like an injury or two. Even if they're not injured, they're like, well, it's just cheaper to draft a running back, pay them nothing for 3 years, then discard them and move on and get another one. So I expect a very weak market for Chris Carson and Aaron Jones. They might even, in fact, go back to their own teams, listen to some offers, go, none of these are that great. We'll see what happens. But again, you can get a really productive rookie running back for nothing. I'm not saying that's healthy. It's terrible, but a 4th-round pick is cheap and still can do a lot of good stuff for an NFL roster as a starter. It's one of the positions where you can plug and play anybody. And if the rookie's healthy and ready, they're going to be much more successful than other players that are rookies that do play different positions. So that was number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Number 9, the Bears have put the franchise tag on wide receiver Allen Robinson. I feel so bad for Allen Robinson. He's been playing with Mitchell Trubisky as his quarterback for a while now. I really hope that Chicago gets a real quarterback. I am begging you, please somebody help Allen Robinson. The poor guy has been held now in Chicago, and he needs a quarterback who can get him the ball. Now, the good news for him is that if he does play on the franchise tag, he's going to make $18 million next year. The bad news is that if he plays on the salary, on the franchise tag, if Allen Robinson plays on the franchise tag, he'll make $18 million. However, he doesn't have a long-term guarantee, and he'd still be in Chicago, which, depending on their quarterback situation, could be good, could be bad. Keep your eye on Chicago's quarterback situation, and please, I'm begging you, Chicago, get Allen Robinson somebody who can throw the ball. He's too good a receiver to be wasted with Mitchell Trubisky as his quarterback. Number 10, the final one that caught my eye this week. The Patriots gave quarterback Cam Newton, a 1-year, $14 million contract. I would actually say it's well-deserved. Cam Newton's been a good soldier. He led things very well in New England last year. It wasn't a very productive year. They didn't win a lot. He didn't play great. But you also have to recognize that, first of all, Tom Brady didn't play great in New England. There's no weapons in New England at all. So you can't really hate. People are like, ridiculous. What the heck? Well, look, Cam Newton's throwing to nobody. There's no outside weapon. There's no N'Keal Harry's maybe a bust. Julian Edelman's fine, but he's good underneath, I guess. But you can't really stretch the field. Julian Edelman, a lot of problems in New England. So you might say that's crazy. I would say, well, I would be curious to watch Cam Newton if he actually had some help and some good weapons. But I will say, I really have no idea what to expect from New England. I don't know. I would like to see them make a move for Kenny Golladay. I'd like to see them do a lot of stuff. I cannot figure out what in the world is happening in New England. It's going to be one of those things where we'll find out when free agency is over. We'll go like, oh, what did the Patriots do? Did they spend a lot of money? Did they do nothing? I can't get a read. I was surprised they gave Cam Newton a 1-year, $14 million contract. Feels like they could have brought Cam Newton back for a lot less. I don't know. It's only 1 year. I can't get a read on it. Now, maybe the Patriots, because I thought they were going to draft a quarterback, maybe the Patriots' plan is to draft a guy like Mac Jones and then have Cam Newton play initially and be the starter, and then either transition to Mac Jones or let Mac Jones sit and learn behind Cam Newton or whatever. Maybe they draft Kyle Trask. I don't know, but I really can't tell what's going on in New England. I just thought I would talk about it a little bit. I hope they're going to spend a lot of money in free agency. I hope they bring in another quarterback to be their long-term answer. The whole thing's weird to me. I can't figure out what the Patriots are doing. It's one of those things where we just got to wait and see. And in 2 months, we'll know a lot more. and we'll be like, oh, we'll kind of have an idea what their strategy is. But for now, after giving Cam Newton a contract like that, I can't figure out what they're doing because he's not their long-term guy, or else they'd give him a longer contract. But it's also not a cheap. I mean, it's $14 million. I think he played on like $1 million last year. So good for Cam. They're paying him probably what they should have. Some of what they should have paid him last year too. Like maybe it's like, well, we got you so cheap last year, we'll overpay you this year. I don't know. But Bill Belichick also is not sentimental. So I'm rambling now. Cannot figure out what's happening with the New England Patriots. Time will tell with them. That is my brief recap of the NFL news from last week. A lot of stuff happened. I didn't mention everything, but I mentioned the things that mattered to me that I thought were interesting. And yes, that is all.